The highest scoring dog in trial, 1985 National, number 338, obedience trial champion, Gutes Liebchen vom Haus Sagan, TDX, our 1985 obedience Victrix. Her score with 396.5 total points.
Well, Connie, that's kind of an impressive score, I must say. And it looks like she's going to give us a little demonstration here. And there she goes.
Your light's still out there.
Here in the Best of Breed competition, I know it had to be a big day for you. You had a big class, had a lot of nice dogs. What was the procedure that you used?
Well, Carmen, I decided to do my bitches first. I divided the bitches into groups of between 10 and 12 and took them all around together and placed them the way I thought they should be according to the way they moved from the side. After I had made my placings on the way they looked to me inside gate, I then did my individual examination. I called them in for a temperament test, which I did first. Then I examined the dog, examined its teeth, and made up my mind I wasn't going to give a select to any dog that had less than a perfect mouth. I examined the structure of the dog, took the dog coming and going, and then around individually so that I could see the gait of the dog at its best all by itself.
Here's your first dog, and if I heard what I thought you just said to me, you're going to check the dog's temperament, and next you're going to look in the eyes and look at the teeth, look at the overall structure, and then have the dog move so that it can be evaluated.
That's exactly right, Carmen. I want to see that the dog's temperament is very good, and you could see the way that bitch behaved. She was totally unconcerned and comfortable with my examination and my approach to her. I'm now going over her structure with my hands, and I'm going to look at her mouth, see if her teeth are all there and her bite is good. Now I'll take her coming and going to evaluate her gait from the front and the rear. Now she's going to go around by herself at whatever gait she looks the best, but I am going to ask for a loose lead. I want to see each dog going on a loose lead because I can best evaluate their gait that way. They look far better when they're not being distorted by a tight leash. This is one of my select bitches, select number 4. She's a small and extremely typey, dark bitch with a very nice top line and correct angulation fore and rear. She has a beautiful croup and hindquarter, and her gait is smooth and outreaching. She's very clean coming and going. See what a pretty picture she is as she goes around the ring. This is another select bitch. I believe this is select number 6. A good-sized, deep-bodied bitch with a beautiful and expressive head, dark eyes, and beautiful ear set. She has an excellent forehand and a lovely neck and good top line. She's a bit long in lower stifle, but she has an outreaching gait, loses a bit of power in underdrive and follow through due to the extra length of stifle. She's clean coming at you, but a bit wide going away.
Well, you had a lot of nice bitches to look at this day, and obviously we've got a great seat here where we can look at the coming and going and evaluate the side gate. As you looked at the dogs throughout the day, did you really find some that really looked nice but didn't give you what you thought they were capable of doing?
I did indeed. As a matter of fact, I was a little concerned because I thought that some people could have done more for their dogs if they had road worked them before bringing them to a show like this. Some of the dogs tired rather quickly, and some of them, who I thought were beautifully structured, did not perform as well as I had thought they would when I looked at them posed. Part of this is because dogs must be in top condition. And the effort that one puts into getting a dog ready for a show like this generally does pay off.
Connie, you've had several dogs that have done well here at the National. How much road work would you say your dogs need to be really competitive?
Well, I think you should road work a dog every day for a minimum of 10 minutes. And that's not such a long time. That's just about what we did, 10 minutes a day with each dog. And they are in, of course, my dogs also get a lot of free running, which helps. But they're in top condition when they're road worked that way and have a lot of outside exercise besides.
So the trick of being able to handle these big rings here at the National is to make sure these dogs can get on their feet and look good for at least 10 minutes or so.
Well, it's not only the 10 minutes that they're running around the ring, but they've got to be up for the whole time they're in that ring, and that's going to be a couple of hours where they will be performing in the ring, and they have got to look good and be up the whole time. And it's more than just road work also, it's developing attitude in a dog, and that's something that's very important. Generally, these dogs will turn on a great deal for the crowd and for the excitement. This little girl's having some fun. You can see that she hasn't been really trained to pull out and is running right with her owner. Now here's a select bitch. This is select number 3. This is a medium-sized black and tan bitch of excellent type. Her head is strong and expressive. She has a very nice top line and an excellent croup and a very well-angulated hindquarter with a short and very clean hock. She has a good forehand and is very clean coming and going and has a very fluid side gait. Another select bitch we have here, select number 10. A beautiful type bitch shown in excellent coat and condition. She's not extreme at either end, but is easy and balanced in motion. Is very sound both coming and going. Another select bitch. This bitch is number, I think it's 5 select. Good-sized bitch who covers the ground with a long stride. She lifts a bit in front until she settles down. But she's sound coming and going and has excellent attitude and showmanship, as you can see here.
She really responded to the crowd, and if I remember right, this was the winner's bitch at last year's National.
Yes, I think you're right. And here is what I mean about a dog who's been trained to enjoy what she's doing and love every moment of it. It's nice to see a dog baiting the way this one did.
Someone's done their homework and really put the time into training the dog. That's always nice to see.
We don't see enough of that. However, you see she is not really showing the enthusiasm for gaiting that you'd like to see. One has to look for little things when you're trying to select the best of a very beautiful group of dogs. And so you pick out the very special virtues on an animal, and you fault dogs who have sometimes small faults of gait coming at you or going away and things like that, because you have to evaluate them for the very best. And I want you to know that the bitches here, those that got select, and many that did not, are superb in quality.
Overall, would you say the bitches were better than the males?
Unfortunately, they always are. Yes, I think so.
Well, the question I might ask is, I hear that year after year. Why?
Well, I think it's easier to be very beautiful in motion if you're a little bit smaller, and of course our bitches are smaller. Our males, unfortunately, very often the best moving ones aren't masculine enough in head and in body type and bone structure, while our bitches are very feminine and lovely in type, and they have the ability very often to move with great ease and are very fluid. So I think the problem is to get a very masculine, beautiful male who can also move superbly, and that's not so easy.
I like the large ring. I thought it really gave the dogs an opportunity to get out there and really show their ability to stretch out and give you everything that they had.
Well, a shepherd is certainly much more beautiful when it's seen in a large and on a grassy ring as this one is. There's no way you can compare the small rings where a dog has to turn constantly and can never get into a beautiful and elastic stride with this. I think at this point I've excused some of the bitches from that particular group, and they're leaving the ring, keeping in only the ones that I am going to consider later on for a possibility of going select. Our second group has now come in.
Well, there's some real nice ones out there, just as there were in that first group.
Well, the quality was very high. It really was just beautiful in bitches. It was exciting to judge them. Here we have our number 2 select bitch. She was a futurity, best in futurity, or futurity Victrix a year or so ago. It's a strong bitch with beautiful pigmentation and a very expressive head with a good dark eye and excellent ears. She has a strong neck and a very strong back. Her forehand is excellent, and she has a good follow-through behind. She's sound coming and going and has an effortless outreaching gait and seems to enjoy every minute in the ring. This is another select bitch, very, very beautiful bitch, 7 select, very elegant bitch, a bit lacking in pigment and coat, but beautiful in conformation. She's clean coming and going and moves with a balanced and outreaching gait. Notice the nice loose lead.
Yes, an owner handled it.
Ah, this is the star of the show. This is our Grand Victrix. A very feminine bitch, beautiful and typey with a lovely head, dark, well-shaped eyes. She has a nice shoulder, a good high wither, and a strong back, and excellent croup. She's not over-angulated, but very correct at both ends and is sound coming and going. In motion, she has a and effortless in floating gait. She never took a wrong step. This is our last select bitch, a good-sized, beautifully pigmented bitch of lovely type. She has a deep forechest, a very good back, and well-angulated hindquarter. She has an outreaching gait, but showed some unruliness over the croup area. I believe this very stylish bitch was the Futurity, or rather the Maturity Victrix this year.
Yes, she was, and she's very stylish and very typey.
We have another select bitch now, number 11, a very dark, medium-sized bitch with a good head, a good neck, and nice top line. She has a very suspended and easy gait and is correct coming and going. I believe she's the mother of a couple of the puppies that placed in the young classes. Okay, this bitch is a bit heavy. I think she's been fed a little too well.
Well, that's all part of the conditioning process, and road working, as I've heard you say, is important, but feeding and grooming and giving them the proper foot care and the kinds of things that they need, just all part of the show game.
And there's no question about it. This is an owner-handled bitch, too. It was interesting. Now we're going to go over this group of dogs and evaluate them against one another once again.
You know, each group just has so many really nice, stylish, typey, pretty animals. You really had your work cut out for you.
Well, here, that was the number 2 select bitch running first, and right behind her looks to me like the Grand Victrix is right on her coattails. And there she goes, moving up to the front of the line. Here we have 2 very beautiful animals, both with tremendous attitude and showmanship. Well, this is another select bitch. This bitch was the 12th select bitch, medium-sized bitch, a bit light in markings, but with a nice black saddle. She has a lovely expressive head and a very nice neck. She's a trifle long in back, but a very outreaching in gait. And in spite of her back, she moves very well and holds it very firm. She's has a beautiful hindquarter and is very clean coming and going. Another select bitch. This is select number 8. A substantial black and tan bitch with a deep body and excellent proportions. She's correctly angulated at both ends and has a good head, neck, and top line with a nicely formed croup. She's very balanced and outreaching in motion, not as enthusiastic as she might be. Another select bitch. This one comes from Canada. A large, very dark, stylish bitch with a strong head, a good neck, and a very good top line. She's well angulated fore and rear and has an outreaching gait. She's a bit loose in bottom line, as you will notice. Looks a little bit as though she's had a litter and hasn't quite tightened up. But in spite of it, her back is holding beautifully.
Well, I'm beginning to get the picture here. There's a particular type, a kind of dog that you really like, the underdrive, the step in the front. It's I guess, more obvious as I watch what you've picked as your select dogs and the way you've put them up.
Well, I hope that I've been able to show the spectators what it is I'm looking for and what particularly appeals to me. I do love a beautiful moving dog, and I like a very easy, effortless gait. I don't like lots of steps, but I like a long, outreaching stride, and I just love a beautiful, strong back. And those are the things that I look for, plus the wonderful attitude that I think a show dog should have. In fact, I think a German Shepherd dog should have. Attitude and personality are so much of our wonderful breed.
Connie, at a national, so many of these dogs that come into the ring, particularly the specials, they've got a history behind them. They're well-known dogs, so people recognize them. Do you find it difficult to judge dogs when you already know a little bit about them and you come into the ring and there they are?
I don't think that any judge can go into the ring knowing anything about any dog. I think you must come in with your mind totally free of any preconceived notion about any dog at all. Since you can't know everything about every dog, you must know nothing about any dog. And that's the way I judge. I don't believe in listening to rumors or worrying about what somebody else said about a dog. I go in and judge them as I see them on that day. And sometimes I'm as surprised as anybody else about the dogs that I find to be the best, because I really have no idea when I start what I'm going to do.
Judge Connie Beckhart evaluating one of her final cut groups from the Bitch Champion Specials 1985 National. Currently in first position is Linrix Crystal. In second position, Jograz Shaika.
Here you see some of the beautiful select bitches running together. And here you see what was the most exciting sequence at the show, and that's when the handler dropped the lead on Crystal, and Crystal just went around as though she didn't even know she was by herself. She gave it with such style and beauty, she took my breath away. She certainly won Grand Victrix at that moment.
That was exciting, and now we're starting the dogs. Here's the first males.
I think this dog was the maturity victor, wasn't it? Best of opposite sex in the maturity?
Yes, he was.
Very handsome young dog.
A few minutes ago, we heard Scooty Sherlock's voice as she appears many times on our tape. You know, without the good help of people like Scooty providing the background color to what's going on, we wouldn't be able to put together as nice a program as we have, and I think she really deserves our thanks.
Oh, she's been wonderful all over the years. And certainly, I don't know how we would live without people like that. Dog's in beautiful condition, beautiful coat condition.
Here's another owner-handler dog.
Right? Certainly is. The dog was not really putting out as much as he might have.
Connie, over the years, you've seen a lot of dogs here at the National. What do you think is the characteristic or the trait that, as a breed, we've improved upon most in the last 10 years?
Well, I'm very pleased with our improvement in temperament. I think you saw today that there were very few animals that didn't behave very, very well. And so I'm pleased. I think that we've come a long way in improving our temperament. Now, I think we still need some better backs. We have some short croups. We have some steep croups. Shoulders are still not as good as we'd like them to be. But pigment was, I thought, better than I had expected it to be, which was good. Ears were not as bad as I had seen them in the past, where there weren't as many ears that I felt were faulty, although there were still some. But one of the biggest problems is getting a dog who takes a long, outreaching stride, who covers a lot of ground and hardly lifts their legs off the ground. I think one of our problems is a lot of our animals lift too high off the ground. And that is a fault because there's a lot of wasted motion. You want the legs to hardly come off the ground. All 4 feet should be so close to the ground that it's almost amazing that you can almost just put an inch underneath them, and that would be a lot.
You know, as we looked at the bitches, I didn't see many bitches that really looked like dogs. But when we look at the dogs, I heard you mention earlier, and I know other people said to me, our problem in the dogs maybe is secondary sex characteristics. Do you agree with that?
I really do. I myself like a very masculine dog. By the way, this dog coming up now is a select dog, select number 2. A very well-conditioned dog. He is a little bit out of coat, but certainly performed beautifully here today. If you watch him going around, you see, look at how lovely he moved, how well balanced he is, and how strong in back he is. This is another select dog, select number 6, a very attractive dog, just a little shorter in neck than I would like to see him, but he has a very suspended and easy gait. As you can see, he covers a lot of ground and his back is holding very firmly, which is very important. This is another select dog. I think select number, was he number 10, perhaps? A big, handsome dog, perhaps a little light in pigmentation, very strong back, beautiful head, very easy in motion, and very reminiscent to me of Reno, and it ended up, of course, he is a Reno son, perhaps was why I was so attracted to him. Another select dog, select number 9. Again, a big, masculine, handsome dog. As you notice, I like that kind of dog. Wonderful head, beautiful, deep forechest, strong back, nice croup, very clean coming and going. My problem with him on the day was that after the first few times around, he'd lost his enthusiasm and didn't show as well as I would like to have seen him. This dog is not performing as steadily as he might. Here we have number 11 Select, a small dog, but still somewhat masculine looking. The longer he went, the better he got, and I ended up keeping him in contention and giving him a Select because he had tremendous enthusiasm and a nice outreaching, balanced gait, a very nice top line, wonderful expression, and you can see that he had the attitude and the desire to win and to show. Sometimes if you watch these dogs coming and going, you can see why they didn't go higher. And that's for you to understand as you're watching them. But there are faults in top line, faults coming and going, and I hope that you can see them and learn from them.
Well, I think listening to the things that you've observed, the way you evaluated a dog is very helpful in understanding what dogs are going to be kept in contention and why they ended up in the order that they eventually ended up.
Well, I hope I made it clear. I try very hard to show what it is I like and what it is I don't like about the dog. I hope that the spectators can see, and not everybody would agree with me because we all see dogs a little differently. More emphasis is put on one thing by one judge and on another thing by another judge, and that's always the way it's going to be.
Well, if we didn't have a few differences, it would certainly be a dull sport.
Well, it would be so cut and dry. We'd all know who was going to win every time they went out. The same dog would win under whoever they showed under. That wouldn't be any fun at all.
Well, one thing's certain, I think the good ones win most of the time.
I don't think you can stop a good one from finishing. I really don't. A good dog will finish as long as people will campaign it and keep it in good condition. I don't think you can stop a good dog. And a lot of dogs that aren't so great finish too, but they have certain nice qualities about them and they're appreciated by certain people. And that's okay. We need a variety. But the great ones, those are the exciting ones. I wish we had more great males. We really could use them.
We haven't seen a good import in a long time that's made a real contribution to the breed.
Well, of course, unfortunately, the top dogs in Germany are so expensive that most people, most Americans, won't spend the money to buy them because you can never make your money back on them. So that, consequently, what we get over here is generally not the best. There have been a few very nice dogs imported. There are a few very nice ones. Here is the dog that went Grand Victor. He is a big, masculine, handsome dog. Beautiful in pigmentation, a marvelous head, beautiful ears, a gorgeous dark eye, and a very, very excellent mouth. He is clean coming and going, as you can see. And he has a very balanced and very easy gait.
Well, we're going to see more of him, so he's going to be exciting to watch the rest of the afternoon.
I think he got better the longer he went, which was interesting. This dog, I think, was the Canadian Grand Victor this year. It's a young dog, still has a lot of tightening up to do, but he's really quite a youngster. This is another Select dog. I believe he was 6 Select. Very beautifully pigmented dog, very rich color. Very good coming and going, an attractive head, beautiful plush coat. He's a nice moving dog. He's just a trifle long, and I think he could use more conditioning and he would look even better. This was a pretty dog. I thought he was very attractive, lovely type. And a nice medium-sized dog. Very clean, notice, going away. Other dog that's nice going away.
You know, the thing I noticed about this year's show, which
Not performing, you notice, Carmen. Sometimes that counts.
certainly does, some of those guys stand up there and they really look like they're here to compete. They want to get out there and win and show what they have. Others, as you've said, just kind of are going along with their handlers as if they're in an obedience trot.
Sometimes I think some of these dogs are overshown and they just get bored with the whole thing. They've lost their fun and enthusiasm in it. They get taken out too much. See how many nicely pigmented dogs we have had this year. That was really very pleasing.
The other thing I noticed is that the dogs are under better control. Obviously, handlers and owners are getting together and doing more homework because we don't see the dogs ramming as much, running off to the side, giving us that sidewinding activity.
Well, also the fact that I made them go slower, I think is a very important part of it. You know, so many times the judges allow these dogs to just run away with the whole show. The more the dogs run, the faster they run, the more the crowd applauds, the more exciting the dogs feel and get, and the more excited the handlers get, and pretty soon you have a race and you can't see anything at all. So because I kept them slow, I think they were more under control and always were easier to see in a correct gait. And I think it has to do a lot with the judging and the fact that judges get carried by the crowd very often and think that's what the crowd wants, which in a way is true, but it isn't the way. A shepherd is not supposed to be a racehorse, you know, he's not supposed to be racing. He's supposed to be trotting at a beautiful, even, and smooth gait. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? Just a beautiful picture of a Type E dog.
Someone's really did their homework.
That dog was beautifully trained, yeah. You have to remember that some of these dogs do not have perfect mouths and things like that, which we're not seeing here, which I don't particularly want to comment on individually. But sometimes a dog that otherwise looks very nice is handicapped by a thing like that. This is the number 3 Select dog, a very, very beautiful type dog. Very correct coming and going. Beautiful head. See that dog go away? How nice he is, how clean. Beautifully his tail is carried. It's a little too heavy, I thought. I'd like to have seen him just a little trimmer and showing just a little bit more enthusiasm in his gait. But I loved looking at him head on. He was very attractive. This is number 5 Select, a beautifully pigmented large male with a wonderful head and expression and a nice neck and lovely top line when standing. His hindquarter is beautifully formed and his shoulder seems very good. He has a very exuberant personality, which is perhaps his problem, because it seems to be impossible to get him to move without the unruliness over his back. I think it's because of his great enthusiasm and his joy of living, and it's just too bad because he really is one of my favorites. There weren't so many sable dogs here. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it seems to run in cycles. Some years we see a lot of sables, and this year we saw a lot of black and tans and only a few sables. I don't know that there was any word out that you don't like sables.
I do like sables. I really do, but just didn't seem to have very many this year.
Well, what we had a lot of was nice, deep, rich pigment, and boy, that was really a welcome sight.
Yeah, I thought that was a big improvement over some of the past years. It's something that has been concerning us because while dogs don't have to be very, very black, they do have to have rich pigmentation, and the tans should be rich and the black should be good. You don't want a lot of white, and you don't want too light an undercoat.
The eyes look nice. I was quite impressed with the fact that we had a lot of dark eyes this year as well.
We certainly did, and a lot of beautifully shaped eyes, lovely almond-shaped eyes, which are very important. This is a really dark eye. I think this dog is a son of the Sundance Kid dog.
We had a lot of relatives, if you will, here in the show this year. Dogs related to each other, dogs who had won other shows and other places. And it just seemed like we had just a big group of them.